RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD, BlenderHD. You're going to follow me on Twitter. And it's Tuesday, November 19th. We'll be taking a look at tonight's 6-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. So hit that thumbs up button on your way in the door. Give me those thumbs. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Remember, later today we got Grinders Live. Crunch time, all your NBA needs leading up until lock, especially with, we got some Q tags on the injury report. So you want to tune in for that. But joining me right now, early in the morning, it's Tim Buell, Tasteful Tides, who is a regular in the NHL Discord. So you should join that, rotogrinders.com/Discord if you're playing NHL today as well. But we do have NBA action. And Tim, we got NBA Cup. More NBA Cup, and
I know.
I can tell it's the NBA Cup because I take a look at our projections, and we have a lot of high minutes for a lot of these star players.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think you are going to see a little bit of a increase in minutes due to this NBA Cup. Teams, I think, do want to advance in this. They do want to win this. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a spot where if I was inputting my own projections, I would be increasing the standard projection, which I think our guys here at RotoGrinders have already done a little bit. So I think that's a really good call by them.
Okay, well, we could take a look at them in Lineup HQ. Obviously, you could get all of our projections, our ownership, our premium content, everything with the RotoGrinders NBA premium subscription or a combo premium if you're playing NFL, you're playing college basketball, you're playing college football, and MMA, PGA, everything. So click that link in the description, get $40 off your first month. But I always look at the injured tab first of what we have to possibly look forward to. Jokic questionable.
That's a really big one. I just want to say that I think Vegas has that line that kind of is assuming that Jokic is going to sit. I'm not so sure.
I'm assuming, Tim. I mean, it shows here that the Grizzlies are a 4-point home favorite. I would assume if Jokic was playing, Nuggets would be favored in this game, right?
I would assume they would be like 2 or 3 point favorites almost. So like if I personally think that it's almost worth taking a risk that Jokic plays because you'd be getting huge closing line value on that. I was considering, I was kind of like looking at props and looking at lines. I considered almost clicking that button to just bet the Nuggets right now because I think
yeah, but let's from a DFS standpoint. I mean, that game is an 8:00 game. I mean, the slate starts at 7. So, right. I mean, it really spans. I mean, we have a really late game with the Lakers. And the way that this is setting up that, the Lakers have the highest total on the slate, that you may have late spots in your lineup. Like it may be possible that if Jokic plays that you could still play him. Mm-hmm. But if Jokic doesn't play, he's currently in our projections because that's what we do with Q tags. If Jokic doesn't play, what's the value that opens up on the Nuggets? And is it, I mean, because it's not in our current projections, what would be looking to do more so if he doesn't play? Because, I mean, the top projected players on the slate are LeBron and AD on this slate. Yep. So that's in the very late game. So from a value standpoint, I mean, some of the value on today's slate is meh. Like you're playing kind of like 4K, 5K guys that are like, they project okay. They're not like slam dunks or anything. We definitely would want to have some like much better value if possible. And I see Jokic here with the Q tag. I also see Luka with the Q tag, but the Mavericks are 12-point home favorites. That gives me the signal that maybe Luka does play if they're 12-point home favorites. But what do we do if Jokic doesn't play? What do we do if Luka doesn't play?
Yeah, so Jokic has been out for a little bit, so that's given time for these Nuggets to be priced up a little bit. So there's no like super like smash play in my opinion. Obviously it's going to open up an absolute ton of usage, so you can get to guys like Jamal Murray at 8,300 or Michael Porter Jr. At 72. I think Dario Saric. It's too bad he's only center eligible though. And he's 4,700. Like before, when Sarge started, he was like 3.3K. So like, and like Peyton Watson, he's priced up to 5,600. Like a week ago, he was $1,000 less. So all these guys have gotten these gradual price increases while Jokic has been out. So I don't think you're necessarily going to get like some kind of like really cheap like smash value play. But you can get to some of these guys that, like I mentioned. I mean, it's still a pretty good matchup. So I mean, I'm not saying not to play them, but I do think that they're not as strong as we would like, as they would have been like a week ago.
Then Dallas with Luka. If Luka doesn't happen to play, where are we going then? Because it's been seeming like either Luka doesn't play or Kyrie doesn't play. It's like it just seems to he doesn't play, he plays. What value? I mean, this game is this is 8:30 Eastern, so this is like mid in the slate. Is any value going to necessarily open up if Luka doesn't play? Even though, like I said, the spread right now is a 12-point play, minus 12 for the Mavericks. Typically, the sides and totals markets are a little bit more predictive of if star players are going to play. I get the sense that he is, but just in case, who would we be looking at on the Mavericks?
Well, I mean, I think Kyrie and Clay would be really standout plays. Clay's only 5,100. I know that he hasn't been great, but I mean, without Luka, he should see a lot more shots. And then I think that you could take flyers on Jaden Hardy as well. At 3,200, he might be that super cheap guy that opens up a lot of things in our lineups. Yeah, I mean, it would really just be Hardy, Kyrie, Clay. It doesn't make any difference to the big men if Luka plays or not. I mean, we've seen in a really small sample. I say that about the big men, but in a very small sample with Luka off the court this season, Daniel Gafford's usage has gone up 10%. But I mean, it's such a small sample that I don't want to really necessarily look too deep into that.
Anyone else on the injury report that we need to pay attention to? We have Hachimura questionable. I mean, he plays 30. We have him for 34 minutes on the Lakers. That'll just open up some of the other secondary guys on the Lakers. Yeah. I guess
that might be good for Connect. You might be a good strong play, but I don't think that would make a huge difference. It would give a little bit of a bump to AD, I think, as well. Not that he really needs a bump, but it would add to his assists. His rebounds a little bit. So I think that would be a little bit of a bump to Anthony Davis. So yeah, it's definitely it's a small thing, the Rui one.
Right, but everything else, like Marcus Smart, does that matter that much?
I don't think so.
Right, Trey Mann, Pritchard, LeVert. I mean,
Pritchard's kind of an interesting one because he's such a strong six man. And that game is going to be like a playoff game, really. So him being out, I mean, he usually plays like upper 20s. So him being, if he were to be ruled out, I think that might add some minutes to some of the guys, like maybe like Hauser, even guys like Tatum might like absorb some of those minutes as well. This is a game. If the Celtics lose this game, I'm pretty sure they're completely out of the tournament, which is big. I think the Celtics want to win this. They're going up against the undefeated Cavaliers team, so I think that Pritchard one might be a little bit sneaky important, just because it should add a little bit of minutes to some of these Celtics guys that are already going to play big minutes.
So outside of the injury report, is it clear that the Lakers studs are the best, pay up options on the slate? I mean, we have them both at 36 minutes as a median. They have the highest team total on the entire slate. Like
Yep.
compared to guys like SGA, we got LaMelo Ball at 9,800, Tatum at 10,1, Ingram 9,300. Obviously Jokic at 12K, which he's questionable.
Yep.
I mean, I've run some optimals on Lineup HQ, and almost all of them give you both LeBron and AD. Would you play? Okay, here for first question is: are they the clear top plays on the slate as far as raw points are concerned? Even value. I mean, we take a look at the RGV here. It's salary adjusted plus minus is very heavy on both of them. And secondly, would you play them both together on a 6-game slate in GPPs, or would you rather? I mean, they both, depending on the scoring. I mean, even if they both got 60, you probably could still win. But I mean, you almost would rather have one have 75, 80, and the other one have like 46.
I think if you got 60 from both of them, you could still win, but I don't know if you could win all the money. Like you could still cash. I don't know if you're going to finish in the top 1% of a tournament though, because I think that you really do want to have one of them go for that 75, 80 game and save that salary somewhere else. I've got no issue. I guess what I'd say is I don't have any issue playing them together, but if I was like making some rules, I'd probably try to like minimize that in some capacity. I'm probably not going to do that in single entry either. I'm not going to hand build that either. It's pretty tough because I'm worried about blowout, and if it's only going to be one of them, I personally would prefer just playing AD. The way that they run this offense, it's really through Anthony Davis. As weird as that sounds, despite the fact that LeBron keeps getting triple doubles and he's 60 years old now. But I mean, it's definitely more. This offense definitely filters more through Anthony Davis.
Chad is saying Wemby is doubtful. Yeah, with the doubtful people, we have out of the projections already. That's why
we have Wemby out, so we're accounting for Wemby to being out of this game. So we have some of those Spurs guys projected decently.
Right. Keldon Johnson 5,300 is going to be popular, and playing chalk Keldon Johnson is not like he's the type of person you play when no one's playing him. I don't know about playing Keldon Johnson at 5,300 when he's going to be. I mean, that value range, that 4K, 5K value range, as of right now on the slate, I mean, he leads the list. He fits at small forward and power forward positions. I mean, he fits into a lot of lineups. But even with Wemby out, I mean, the Spurs are nearly a 10-point dog at home. And it's the Spurs. And Tim, it's the Spurs. Do you have any clue of how the rotation is going to go on a day-to-day basis when it comes to this team? I don't.
I guess not really, but I mean, it's just you're going to have to get to a couple of these guys because Wemby is just such a usage monster. So without him, and I will say this, I was looking at the shot quality advanced analytics prop betting model page, and it is loving Keldon Johnson overs. Unfortunately, the book that it's offering is not available to me.
You don't have 365. I'm going to grab that. We have in our prop model here at RotoGrinders the PRA over 19.5.
Yeah,
being significant value on Bet 365.
Yeah, shot quality loves that one. So definitely something to keep in mind. I know that means nothing for DFS because we care about ownership and what other people are doing in DFS, but in props, we don't care what other people are doing.
So that's what you should do, Tim. Tim, you should have a hedge. You make your DFS lineup without Keldon Johnson. You fade him, and then you put the same amount of money on the PRA over.
I don't have Bet 365 though.
And there has to be a number somewhere else that at least shows some value, right?
DK doesn't even have a number yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. DK's getting very conservative as far as like they're like, well, we're not sure if Wemby's going to play or not. Like, he's not going to play.
I'm pretty sure Wemby's not going to play. So,
Right.
yeah. I'm not too concerned about that one. The other prop that I did bet that DK did have a good number on is the Eve Miss Missy. Yeah. Over rebounds, 7.5. I got that.
Okay.
I got that even money on DraftKings.
Okay, let's go over to SimLabs, which is our simulation product, which is part of Combo Premium, but you could even get Combo Light, right? Combo Light, like we have SimLabs for the 4 major sports. We have MLB, which obviously there's no more baseball yet, NFL, NBA, PGA. And you could use this to build your lineups also. You don't need lineup HQ. And we've already simulated the slate, based on the current projections. You'll always see the Sims update here on the, the little timestamp. We've simulated the slate like 10,000 times and graded, every, lineup, possible lineup that you'll see in your contest, depending on how large the contest field is. And then you could basically put in the advanced settings, like what you want to weight them by, right? On your own personal, we have a default here that is fairly decent. And then see how your lineups stack out. And it's not just about just like pushing the button, getting a bunch of lineups, right? It'll also show here like how often the player is optimal compared to their projected ownership at every position. And then you could also put in to lock players or exclude players, so you could find the lineups that you want to play. So if you well, I want to play this guy and that guy, and I want to fade that guy. Well, put that in and then find the lineups. So it basically makes it so what does the rest of the lineup look like that is the highest EV? And this is what they look like. And then you could look at that and go, oh, okay, maybe I would have never built that lineup, but SimLabs is telling me that this should be a profitable lineup based on these metrics. And maybe some of the lineups that you thought like you were going to hand build are like, oh, they don't even show up. Or or you put in a combination that it spits out lineups with very low scores. And you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be playing these guys together. So when it comes to, Tim, you like, building that one lineup for like small field or single entry contests. We're going to keep the results range, maybe medium, right? It's a 6-game slate.
That's what I do. I usually put it somewhere between 40 and 50.
Right. Yeah. So you're using your methodology, even in single entry in a smaller field, you probably, AD and LeBron, you don't want to play together.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's my thesis, is that I don't want to play them together.
Okay, so what if you had to choose between the two? Which ones would you play? Because AD fits in less spots than LeBron, so LeBron is probably going to be higher owned than Anthony
definitely.
Davis.
Yeah.
So, but you have to take up a C spot because of it.
I'd rather go AD.
Okay, so we're gonna put in Anthony Davis right in here. Okay, is there a guy on the slate that you just too high owned, you're going to fade? I mean, do you want to play Keldon Johnson in your lineup?
I was just going to say, I'm looking at Keldon's projected owned, and I'm like, wow. Like, if that's really going to be like that high, I don't love that. So for this exercise, let's just exclude him and just see what we get. Okay,
let's see. We're going to just put 20 lineups, a very small amount, just to see what we get. Right, so we're locking in AD. We're excluding Keldon Johnson. Let's see. We'll leave it. Don't have to bother with the advanced settings as of now. So get lineups. It's very quick. To get 20 lineups, there you go. Okay. So we got lineup two. And I like organizing it if we're playing GPP by okay, now we're getting really bad ones at the bottom. So there aren't that many lineups that contain both, right? So 63 down here, 83, right? We get a lot of Nets, right?
Yeah.
So here's a LaMelo Ball lineup.
Sims really like the Nets today. I'm seeing that.
Right. But still, you got AD and LeBron together. AD and Reeves. Right, here's AD with Clarkson, Wiggins, Jalen Williams. Right, AD. I mean, the first lineup that comes up, the highest rating, 92. Top 100. I mean, this is across the board. Would be this lineup. So it would be with AD in the utility spot, and you're gonna basically SGA, Schroeder, Vince Williams, Grant Williams, Ben Simmons at 4,700, Aaron Wiggins, and this 1.2% owned Julian Champagny. I never know how to pronounce it.
Champagny.
Yeah. Is this a lineup that you would consider playing, or is this?
I actually don't hate it. The only issue that I have is I'm not crazy about Ben Simmons. Hate that he's center only. So I'm not crazy about him. I really do like Grant Williams today a lot. So I love that play. Schroeder's really popping in everything that I've been running. I like the SGA pivot also as like a high end spend up. He's going to be probably lower owned than he should be. So I like SGA quite a bit. So most of this lineup I like. I probably, I don't know. I like I said, I don't love Simmons, but most of this lineup I don't mind. I don't mind it.
So now I'm going to lock in Grant Williams and I'm going to exclude Ben Simmons.
Okay.
And see and just want to make people aware when you use SimLabs, like the more of these things that you put in lock players, exclude players, the less lineups that you can't use this very like lineup HQ where it's like, well, I want to play one of these, this is more of a research tool of how many lineups are available that kind of look like that. So as I start adding like lock players and excluding players, you're going to have to increase the contest field and the results range just to make sure that you get lineups for some contest. It may just be telling you that at a certain point, these lineups are only good for like the largest field contests. And if you're playing, a 200-man high stakes 555, that you shouldn't be that different, right? Like then you may be at the point where you're like, yeah, maybe you should be playing LeBron and AD together, right? It's going to may show you, maybe you should just be eating Keldon Johnson at that point, regardless. So we're kind of getting a little off the board as of now. So I'm putting in 50 small, and I'm moving it up to the small field contest, leaving results range at 66%. Just so I know I'm generating some lineups that aren't like the horrible ones. Okay, we're getting a bunch.
Yeah, this isn't going to be horrible, I don't think.
No, we're getting a bunch. Oh no, we're getting a decent amount. Okay, the top one here, got Brandon Miller in it. I'm just looking for like the low owned like players. Julian Strother. I mean, okay, we also want to exclude. Let's exclude LeBron, right? Because some of these lineups actually contain both of them. So let me put in this and get lineups. And you could obviously, for those that have never used SimLabs, you could save any lineup you want to the save lineup section, right? Okay, so here we go. This is AD.
I like that. I like that lineup. It's very balanced.
So you got Markin in there at 7K. You got Dort in there at 4,800. You could be playing a lot of Nets.
Yeah,
Nets, Brandon Miller, Grant Williams. I mean, you're playing a lot of like you're almost stacking the Hornets, the Nets game in a way.
Yep.
You said you like if you were to go up with SGA.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing if I could find an SGA lineup in this.
Right. SGA. Let's see. I'm assuming it'll be in the top spot over there. Not with this configuration, really. Okay.
Yeah, no, you got one.
Right. So SGA, Castle, Johnson, Finney Smith, Grant Williams, Wallace, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis. Are you okay with playing SGA and Wallace together?
I think there was one right above it too, Blender. That was better.
Oh, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
So you like this one? This one has SGA with Wiggins, which is fine. Aaron Wiggins, Schroeder, Zaire Williams, Cameron Johnson, Julian Strother. I mean, this is a more of a stars and scrubs build, obviously, because you're playing SGA. But this looks like the type of lineup that would be here, and other people would have like LeBron in this construction lineup.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you also like the ones that don't have SGA, because then it's much more balanced. And I'm assuming that balanced lineups are going to be less used.
I think balanced lineups tend to be less used unless we have like amazing, like really cheap value. So like if value doesn't break, and people want to jam in some of these like, low salary people that I don't think are great values, the edge that you could get is to go a little bit more balanced. So I like seeing these balanced lineups in SimLabs.
Okay, so I'm going to change some of the advanced settings. Okay. As far as I always look at like ownership weight. Like right now, I just want to show, this is how I show people how to use SimLabs properly. Because we've already had to, because of we're locking this guy, we're excluding that guy. We've had to increase the range that we're using just to get lineups that, have some rating to it. If you're playing smaller field contests, like these advanced settings, these advanced settings influence what the SimLabs rating is. Like these other stuff doesn't really like do much to it. So what do you want to prioritize more in your SimLabs rating? And you have these 5 different metrics: simulation weight, projection weight. Yes,
don't you think that the smaller the slate, the more that we should up the correlation weight?
No, actually, 6 games isn't small. Like if it was 2 or 3.
Okay, but if let's say it was like 3 or 4, would you up the correlation weight?
I guess so. I'm more inclined to talk about, since you're playing a smaller field contest, that I'd be more inclined to increase the weight on projection.
True.
Right?
Yep.
Right? Because you don't need to. There could be lineups that the SimLabs rating is high because it comes in the top 5% a lot, but then it also doesn't cash as often. I know we have the ITM in here, but I tend to prioritize more a higher projected. Given that if the ownership was the same, I'd rather have the higher median projected lineup. Right? If we're playing large field, I wouldn't even care about the project. Like I'd put that very low. But if we're playing small field, I almost want to up this up to, I want higher projected lineups. I don't want to get lineups that are, 22 points below optimal, playing a 300, 400 man contest. And then another thing is upping the ownership weight higher, because you don't have to be as different, right? So we up the projection and ownership weight, and don't care that much about like upside.
Right.
It doesn't matter as much. Correlation really doesn't matter as much. Obviously, when we can keep the simulation weight high, right? So I'll bump that up, right? So I'm going to change that a little over here. And then I'm going to go back to single entry, low results. Like I want to get as tight as possible. Now, it's quite possible when we run this with these 2 locked players and 3 excluded players that we don't, like if you just ran this and said, I want 5 lineups, it's quite possible it'll just spit out 5 really garbage lineups with SimLabs ratings of 20, right? So just to give it enough room, like you could obviously put it in 150 if you want, but I would put in like 50, because the bot, it's quite possible that if we start adding even more locked players, excluded players, that there may only be 3 lineups that make sense completely at all. Every other lineup will just show a garbage SimLab rating. If you just put in 5, it may not even give you those 3 lineups at all, right? So you have to kind of work with the tool a little. Is there any player out of all of these, like do you want to play the balanced lineup, or do you want to play the SGA lineup where it's the more common barbell construction, right?
As everything sits right now, I want to go balanced.
Oh, you want to go balanced. So let's exclude SGA also.
Okay.
So we don't get those lineups. Is there another player that you're looking to prioritize if you can? You're already saying I want to play AD, I want to play Grant Williams. Is there another player that you'd like to get in the lineup, especially in balanced builds?
I think I just gotta check his price real quick. Okay, yeah. Brandon Miller
At 6,600.
Yep.
Okay, so I mean we're getting a bunch of him anyway. So I'm putting in 50. Results range low, single entry, just 50 lineups. Okay, because you're playing, one lineup in a 300, 400 person field or whatever. Let's see what comes up. Okay, lineup one. Okay, no, we're getting 94, 90. Oh, see, this is where it starts coming down. So this is why you build a lot, right? You can't even build that many. Like, you're not going to play any of these lineups. Basically, the tool is being forced to build lineups that don't exist, that have this configuration in it. But we do have basically 2 over 9. We basically have these two. Let's save both of these, right? You can save it to the save section. So you basically get both. Essentially, this is the lineup that we just had on the screen. Right? This lineup one is the one that I literally had on the screen. This one is a slight differentiation of it.
Yeah, I like that. I like these lineups.
Is there any different? Are they just? Is this just a 1v1? Cameron Johnson. So we know Cameron Johnson. It's Cameron Johnson versus what? Christian Braun? Yeah, that's all it is. It's a 1v1, right? Because this leaves 300 on the table.
Yeah.
Right. And this one projects for 3 points higher based on that difference. So it's basically Johnson versus Christian Braun. Are you fine playing Cameron Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith together?
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, maybe I should limit my Brooklyn exposure to like 2, but I don't know. Finney-Smith is cheap enough that I think that you could play both of them. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Would Christian Braun? Here's a question: would Christian Braun's projection go up if Jokic was out?
Yes, it would. I don't think he'd be some kind of like screaming must play though. His projection would increase, but not.
But all I'm saying is that from a late swap perspective.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Right, because this has more about, like, if we think of like the Jokic, the game is at 8. So if we play lineup 1, we'll have all these players locked. The only players that we won't have locked would be a center spot, a guard utility spot, and a utility spot. 3 spots empty. And we're probably playing AD no matter what. Right. So you get like basically a Dort Markkanen lineup here. And here you're getting the shooting guard spot open. And you're playing one less player from the earlier games that you could swap to. So like if you wanted to, but they're both gonna, it's gonna be a shooting guard and a guard spot and utility spot for the Jazz, which is the latest game. If Jokic is out, I'm assuming that you could probably make a better lineup with, one of those guys. Like
you could put in Michael Porter Jr. over Lauri Markkanen, I think.
Right.
If you have the $200, which we don't actually, but he would be a better play than Markkanen.
But you understand why I would prefer the second lineup over the first one. Just
it's got way better late swap equity. Yeah, right. For sure. Yeah.
So if you were using the tool, I mean, obviously it's 11:30 in the morning. A lot of this stuff changes. The projections will change. The sims will change. Right? We have the timestamp down here. This will be updated throughout the course of the day as projections change, as news comes out. So like, yeah. This is the type of thing that you'd be doing at like 6:30, not now. But I'm showing as if it was 6:30 and then we had all the news in and all the projections were and the ownership was the way it is, like this is the lineup that based on your proclivities, maybe I'm playing a LeBron lineup that eats the Keldon Johnson ownership, but fades something else. I mean, like you could do it that way. Like we just showed one direction to go, but I just wanted to show how you can use SimLabs to have it build the lineups for you, even if you're a hand builder. So a lot of people go, oh, I don't need all these tools I'm not building 150 lineups or anything. It's like, dude, I don't use SimLabs to build 150 lineups. I use it to research on what are the the highest EV lineups, what do they look like? And then pick out the ones that I want to use.
I build one lineup every single day for each sport, every day, and I use SimLabs probably 45 minutes to an hour every single day, just kind of seeing what goes with what, and using the different sim weights and stuff like that. So like, it is by far my highest used tool on a daily basis. It's not even close.
Right, because a lineup HQ, I mean, you just go here. Like all it is a knapsack problem solver for FPTS column. So it's not going to. They'll tell you the total ownership and stuff like that. Now you could use a lot of the settings to kind of jury rig. What I always say in theory, a DFS course: projection, leverage, and correlation. You have to have a proper mix of that for GPPs. And the larger the GPP is, the more you're willing to drop that median projection for the sake of leverage and correlation. Now, how much do you drop it? That's a heuristic. Yeah, it depends on the slate and the size and everything. Well, that's what SimLabs is for. SimLabs is pretty much doing that behind the scenes because it's simulating the contest out 10,000 times. So it's already shown that, hey, this lineup rates out the best amongst 10,000 simulations of the contest. Some simulations it wins. Some simulations it comes in last. Some simulation it comes in the middle. But over the course of 10,000, this one shows better than some other lineups. So even if you're building 5 lineups, 10 lineups, I mean, that's when I do NFL in the morning on Sundays, I'm picking my lineups from SimLabs. Now I'm moving stuff around. I'm saying I want to take a look at these stack lineups that don't have this player. I want to take a look at these stack lineups that have this. I'm building 3 large field lineups. I'm building 3 small field lineups. So I'm like going through all of that, and I'm making the decisions that I want to make. I'm not just pressing, going to the screen and just going default settings, give me 50. Oh, this is the best one, and playing it, because there's probably thousands of lineups that are about the same to each other. Just depends on which ones do you want to play and how those pieces go together. So this tool, like we've shown this morning, you're going to play NBA tonight, have your own takes. Have your own, I don't want to play the Lakers. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think LeBron and AD are not going to play their last rotation. I just want to fade that game completely. Well, you could do that, right?
It doesn't take away your own autonomy to make decisions.
Right. Find a lineup that makes sense to you.
Right. Yep.
And if you get to the point where you're like, well, I want to fade both AD and LeBron, and I want to play 3 OKC guys, and you do all that, and then you run it, and the lineup show for a SimLabs rating of garbage. It's all the garbage lineups.
Right.
Then you know what it is. Probably what you want to do is it's not good.
Exactly.
Probably not good.
Yeah. Right. That's the thing. Yeah, Sims will tell you when your idea is complete garbage.
Right. Or it may show you that, hey, your idea, there's like 2 or 3 lineups that rate well for that, and these are what they look like, and anything else that is not good. And you look at those 3 lineups, it's like, I don't want to play Zaire Williams or something. Well, that's the way that this works here. If you don't want to do that, maybe you have to change your idea a little bit. We're just if you want to do something, if you want to play garbage lineup, we're not going to stop you, but we want to show you that the combination that you're looking at does not simulate well in the 10,000 outcomes based on the lineups that we predict to be in the contest. So that's SimLabs. You can get this combo light as part of a combo light subscription. You don't have to get lineup HQ. You don't have to build 150 lineups. You can get this on our cheaper combo light for all the 4 major sports, and you also get all of our premium written content also. So you'll get the the expert survey and the consensus value rankings and the slate breakdowns and everything like that. So so you don't have to get like everything and all the tools and all the everything. So all the information about that is in the description. Tim, do you have any other props other than the Keldon Johnson overs that are not out on DraftKings yet, but you can
the Messi over 7.5 rebounds. That's my one that I have right now. And then I
always look at that. I always think of Messi because I'm a soccer fan.
Yeah, me too. I know. I'm not even a soccer fan. That's what I think of. Yeah, I'll be on Crunch Time tonight. I'll be on with Stevie tonight live at 10 Eastern. So I'll be on Crunch Time today. I'll be on the morning grind later tonight. So that's what I got going on today.
Yep, and we got Grinders Live Crunch Time later tonight. Hit that notification bell, 5 o'clock Eastern, 6:30 for Crunch Time. See what's going on with the Jokic and Luka and everything, because stuff could change, right? All this stuff could change. You never know. By that time, you're looking at SimLabs, and the lineups look nothing like this because this guy's in. This guy, Wemby's in, right? He was down for up. He's going to, I mean, dude, it's the NBA. People have gone from out to probable to doubtful and vice versa, like it doesn't matter. So we've had people that he's obviously going to be out, and then you see the starting lineup come out and they're in. You're like, how is that possible? Right?
Yeah, if Wemby played, that would ruin everything.
Right, that would ruin everything. Right? Yeah. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Like I said, hit the notification bell to always know when I go live. I'll be on tomorrow with Alex Santi for an NFL Week 12 DFS preview. And we got props and pick'em for NFL on Thursday. And we got GPP strategy on Friday because I'm here for you every Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props and pick'em on RotoGrinders Today.